All right, if you are watching this video asynchronously, please pause it right now and work this problem, and then don't unpause until you're ready to check your answer. This warm-up right here is a little leveled up from what we did Monday. This warm-up is for the lesson we're actually going to be doing today. If you noticed, the difference between this problem and Monday's lesson is this one has variables on both sides. On Monday, we just had the variable on one side. So if you couldn't quite remember how to do this, that's okay. I was just trying to challenge you a little bit, but this is what the lesson's over, so you'll be good by the end of the lesson. So to start, we have this distributive property to take care of first. I always recommend doing distributives first to get rid of any parentheses. And you should always be sure to distribute to the second term inside the parentheses. That's one of the most common algebra mistakes, is to forget to do that. So then on the left-hand side, we can combine the -6 and the -8. So 8x minus 14, 4 plus 2x. And then here's where it's different from Monday. We have x's on both sides and constants on both sides. Remember, constant is a number that doesn't have a variable with it. So because the equation is something that's in balance, and I want to get all my x's on the same side, I do that by doing inverse operations. So let's say I'm going to move the x over to the left side of the equation. It doesn't matter. You can move them to the left or the right. I'm just doing the left right now. So in order to do that, I do the opposite of what it is right now. Right now it's plus 2x. So the opposite, or the inverse, would be minus 2x. That's called the additive inverse. So that would cancel the x's out on the right. And on the left, 8x minus 2x, that gives me 6x's. And I still have the minus 14 and the 4 on the right. Now, since I moved x's to the left, I'm going to take any constants on the left and move them to the right. My goal is to get the x all by itself. When you hear us say in algebra, isolate the variable, that's what I'm trying to do, get it by itself. So to undo minus 14, I do the inverse, which is add 14. And you have to do it to both sides to keep the equation balanced, like a scale kind of. So then that is 6x equals 18. And now that my variable is isolated, I have one more step. Now I need to, it's still got a times 6. So I need to undo that. The inverse of multiplying by 6 is dividing. And so the 6's cancel on the left. And then on the right, I have 18 divided by 6, which is. So raise your hand if you got that. First time out, no big deal. You remembered how to do. Okay, excellent. Then this lesson's going to be super easy for you. We'll probably get through it pretty quickly. And then if you are a little rusty on that, I'm pretty sure by the end of the lesson, you're going to be gold. You just probably need a little refresher. So you'll see that these notes look just like Monday's. In fact, the steps are exactly the same. It's just that on Monday, we didn't have to do moving the variable to one side and the constants to the other side at the same time. But today we are going to have to do those. So I'm going to make my screen a little bit smaller here. So I'm going to, because the steps are the same, I'm just going to go straight to example 1 over on the right-hand side. Oh, this is the wrong one. This is Monday's notes. Good gosh, give me just a second. Okay, these are the correct notes. They do look just like Monday's notes because the steps are the same for today's lesson as Monday's. So we're just going to talk about the steps as we get started on the examples immediately. So example 1, we have 2m minus 5, so I'm right here, by the way. Step 1, there are 2 parts. A says to do distributive property, but in this problem, there's none. So for step 1, part A, it does not apply, not applicable. But look at what the B part says. It says combine like terms. And I can do that for step 1. On the left-hand side, I have 2m and 5m that combines. So that's 7m and then minus 5. And on the right, nothing combines. It just is going to stay like that. And then step 2 says move variables to one side of the equation. And step 3 is to move the constants to the other side. In the warm-up, I did that in 2 separate steps. But from here on out, I'm going to combine them into one step. So I'm going to do step 2 and step 3 at the same time. Now, when you move the variables over, it does not matter if you do it to the right or to the left. So tell me in the chat, would you like me to move the m's to the left or the right of the equation? Which would you want? It doesn't matter. The right. Okay, that's the first answer I saw. So moving the variables to the right means that the variable on the left is, I'm going to do the opposite of it, or the inverse. So the variable on the left is 7m, and I'm going to subtract it to both sides. So what I just did was move the m's to the right. So now step 3 is move any constants that are on the right to the other side. So there's an 11 on the right. I'm going to move it to the left by doing the opposite of it. And so here's what happens then. On the left, the m's cancel because I moved it over. And now I have negative 5 minus 11 on the left, which is negative 16. And then on the right, the 11's cancel because I moved it over. And now I have 3m minus 7m, which is a negative 4m. And then step 4 just says divide both sides by the coefficient. That's whatever number is in front of the m that's being multiplied, which is a negative 4. So on the right, the 4's cancel. And on the left, I have a negative divided by negative, which is positive. And 16 divided by 4 is 4. I'm going to put you in breakout rooms to work the last 2 problems, and I'll come around and see how you do. I'll give you a few minutes and then come check on you. All right, for example 2, you want to do the distributive property first. And that will give you, it will still be 5n plus 34 on the left, but now negative 2 plus 14n on the right. Now I will move, I'm going to move my n's to the right, which means subtracting 5n from the left. And then I have to move the negative 2 to the left by adding it to both sides. So that gives me 36 on the left, the ends cancel. On the right, the 2's cancel, and I have 9n. And then just divide by 9. N equals 4. In example 3, oh, sorry, I should have said pause the video to work example 3 before you check your work and answers. You start by distributing 8x minus 6 minus 8 equals 4 plus 2x. In this problem, we have the 6 and 8 that will combine. So 8x minus 14 equals 4 plus 2x. I'm going to move the x's over to the left, which means on the right, I need to subtract 2x. And that means on the left, I need to add 14. That gives me 6x on the left, the 14's cancel. And on the right, I have 18, and the x's cancel. And then I divide by 6, get x equals 3. And if you notice, that's the same thing we did in the warm-up. So just in case you didn't get it in the warm-up, now you saw it again, and hopefully you feel better about it. This last problem has a typo in it. It should be a plus right here in front of the 43 instead of an equal. So pause the video and work it like that before you come back and see the solution. So there's two distributive properties, one on the left side of the equation, which gives me 24x plus 4, and one on the right side, which gives me 12x plus 9, and then plus 43. So combining like terms is the B part for step 1, and there's only needs to be done on the right side, the 9 and the 43. Yeah. So that's 12x plus 52, and on the left is 24x plus 4. And moving the x's over, I'm going to move the x's to the right just so you can see that it can go either side that you want. It doesn't always have to be moving it to the left-hand side. So that means subtracting 24x to both sides. That moves the x to the right, which means any numbers on the right, the 52, have to move to the left by doing the opposite, which is minus 50. So on the left, the x's cancel. 4 minus 52 is negative 48. On the right, the 52's cancel, leaving me 12x minus 24, which is negative 12x. And the very last step is to divide by negative 12. So x equals 4. And then your assignment is a worksheet that's in your stream announcement. There's an assignment in your Google Classwork tab for posting it. There's a coloring page that goes with it. The answers will tell you what color to color them. You don't have to do the coloring page. It's optional for a daily grade, an extra credit daily grade. That's just for if you like to color, and also the coloring helps you know if you got your answers right, because if you color it and it doesn't make sense, then you know to go check some of your work.